Good day.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon.
Wherever you're watching this, viewer,
Single.
single viewer in the singular, not the plural. We are honoured today to be broadcasting from the Davidoff shop on Jermyn Street and St James's. I brought Max here first when he was about 6 weeks old, and he liked it so much he came back to work here once he'd completed his formal education.
And before that, I remember scooting around the shop and trying to catch the smoke as well, which was quite a fun game as a young child.
Yes,
here we are.
We've got a fun game as a young child, exactly, catching the smoke. Yes,
this is what you taught me from a young age.
Catching the smoke
The
for
cigars,
the children.
and the cigars, the relay, the batons were cigars. They were esplendidos at school. You used to give me the esplendidos.
Didn't Freddie go to
batons.
school dressed as Che Guevara with a
With
cigar?
a cigar as well, so
About
people
six.
brought up. But this was all learned from the man himself,
From
Mr.
Edward.
Sahakian, and Sahakian Jr. Eddie.
I've never done a scooter in my life.
Okay.
I have to put that record straight.
And I don't know when I first went to, but we are celebrating 500 years of the shop here. It was Henry VIII used to come before they invented the cigar. Henry VIII was a regular. But you're very modestly only celebrating 40 years of a new cigar from Davidoff in Basel, right?
Well, exactly right, Nick. We're very honoured and privileged to be able to show this as our 40. Well, let me hand that over to you, Dad, if I may.
Look at this.
It's
The
not
packaging alone.
Well,
You just wait and see. You just wait and see.
In Cuba, they'd wrap it up in a sort of tissue or something, wouldn't they?
Don't worry, we'll be overlaying some close-up footage, won't we, of this amazing. Look at the you've got
Look
the, you've got
at
the
that!
outline.
Look at
of
that!
the
Look at that!
shop.
You've got the Tower of London there, described as Big Ben. You've got Henry VIII coming into the shop.
Sometimes it does feel like 5 years, but it's only 40 years.
And here we go. Do you recognise? Look.
Now,
it's the front.
let me see if I can show this correct. We
Look at
see
that.
the two pipe handles on the cover here, which will remind you of our entrance door.
Of the door
there,
handles, yeah.
Of the brass handles, which is the shape of a pipe. And of course, here we are.
Ooh.
they also look like moustaches. I'm not
They
sure.
do.
They do. It's quite surreal. It's cela se pas un pipe or whatever.
Look at
As a
that.
thank you for joining us in the couple of trips we did to select.
Yes,
the
I was
cigar
there. I was there
for
at
the
the
blending of
initial
it.
tasting in Basel.
You were indeed, and even before that and after that. So I would like to present the first one to be smoked to you, please.
Thank you. And I don't need to select them because they're all going to be brilliant.
They
Of
always
course they
are.
will be.
Davidoff, it's always
Look at
fine.
that.
Look at that color
Look at
wrapper.
that,
So
that is
that's
beautiful.
Max,
isn't
would
it?
you like to
Of
that's
participate?
an
course.
Ecuadorian.
Thank you
It's
very
a
much,
Havana
Bob.
seed
Thank you.
Ecuadorian wrapper,
Look at
correct?
that.
That's exactly right,
There
Nick.
you go.
And what is that? Colorado Oscuro or whatever? Oscuro, not
Thank you.
Oscuro.
Probably just Colorado. wouldn't you
Colorado.
think? I mean, maybe not Maduro, but
Not Madeira.
Colorado.
It's going towards Maduro,
Yeah.
but not produced in the Maduro fashion. It's used similarly on the 702 series from Davidoff. And then underneath you have a Mexican binder and 5 additional Dominican leaves compromising the filler.
I think it's probably simpler to say what isn't in this cigar.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's got everything in it,
I
doesn't
mean,
it?
for a small
Yeah,
cigar,
we
you
didn't
might-
throw the kitchen sink into it.
No.
I promise you that.
but the aroma is distinct as well, isn't it? You couldn't really mistake this for a Havana, could you?
No. And I love the pigtail on the top, which is a lovely touch.
And
as
you
well.
call it a Corona Especial, don't you? And you're allowed to call it a Corona Especial, even though the official Davidoff orthodoxy would be to call this a Panatello.
Panatello.
Yes, that's exactly right, Nick. We both felt that in the UK market, this size is well known as a Corona Especial. As a Panatella, it may be mistaken for a much smaller, slimmer cigar. So this was an important distinction we made, and thankfully Davidoff were entirely accommodating everything and anything we asked for on the packaging with the cigar. They bent over backwards to facilitate. Obviously, Henke Kellner and Eladio Diaz were instrumental in putting these blends together. And Nick, your good self, you were part of the tasting panel that really came down to this cigar.
Yes, and I think it's even the same cigar that we chose. You actually had made. It's often
Managed to give you the right
when
one.
we have this wonderful
Was this the fifth one out of the four, or the
No,
fourth
the-
one out
The
of the
fourth
four?
one out, I think it's the fourth out of three. It's when we're in Cuba. Sometimes we have two cigars to choose from, and often we find that the third one is being made.
But what's that? So Henke obviously was behind this in a way. And what was that amazing story you were telling me about how he kind of on a napkin, on a tissue, he worked out how much tobacco would be in a new kind of 60 ring gauge cigar he was thinking of.
Yes, he's quite extraordinary. He's the most remarkable man. First of all, because he's so good-humoured and he's such good company, and he plainly loves tobacco, and he's sort of grown up in it. But also his expertise is extraordinary. I mean, this cigar. I mean, you're right. I was in there in a restaurant with him in the Dominican Republic, and somebody was talking about an 80 ring gauge cigar, and he worked out,
Which isn't unheard of these days,
isn't
funny
it?
enough.
Ridiculous.
You've got El Septimo making ring gauges
Look at
like that.
look at your cutter that can cut down a small tree.
Where's my cutter's in my pocket now? It's already
But,
cut down the small tree.
But this is, but he calculated the amount, the volume and the weight, prospective weight of tobacco that would be in this cigar, and also the surface area of the wrapper, mathematically. So I mean, the man is a genius, but he wears his genius very lightly. But one of the things that's interesting about this cigar is that you have the Yamatsa leaf in it, don't you?
Yes.
Which was Henke's answer to a question that nobody really was asking, but was a matter of pride, in that people were saying that the Dominican Republic could never produce a good wrapper. It could always produce great filler tobacco, good binder, but never a great wrapper. And he decided that he would cultivate a plantation in an old volcano. Is that correct, Eddie?
I believe so, Nick. Yes, that's what I heard.
And it took him 10 to 15 years to make.
It's the Volvic of tobacco, isn't it?
And oh, it's delicious.
It is brilliant, isn't it? It's great. What have you got flavour-wise to start with? Have you noticed? I've noticed definitely a distinct spice, but a sweet
Yes.
one, which isn't kind of overpowering at all.
There's I don't know if it's white or black pepper.
Yes,
What
we
do you
haven't
think?
quite figured that out yet. We'll have to have a conversation.
Cracked black pepper.
Over cigar,
Ah.
yeah.
But with a slight hint of background there of sweet chili.
What about the nutmegs? Are you?
Always have nutmeg. Always have nutmeg. You can't really go wrong with nutmeg.
No.
Nutmeg, and then we just
So we have some of the wood and leather as well.
Oh,
There we go.
wood and leather.
And what
Spice.
we can't also forget the zest, or nor the citrus, can we?
We don't have citrus so far on
Not
this
yet,
one.
but once it
I'm
arrives,
sure we'll
that'll
build
be the first
up
word
to
to
it.
come
You know what it
to mind.
reminds me of also is, you know, when you buy these chocolates and it says 90% or 95%
Mm.
cocoa content, it reminds me of that.
Well, I'm not surprised. Yeah,
Not
you've got
only
a
the
real
colour, but
richness.
the
Yes.
aroma and the flavour of it. You could really.
The aroma is
taste
something
it.
very different, really quite creamy and rich, the aroma.
Nick, you probably remember when we were debating, we got down to two cigars.
Numbers 3 and 4.
That's right. And one was, I think, distinctly lighter and more in keeping with the 25th anniversary
Yes.
we've done. And this one, which in the end I think we all agreed would be a more interesting cigar in general, but also would have an aging potential.
Because they don't normally. I mean, one of the things that I find strange about the Dominican production with Davidoff is that, first of all, they're made perfectly. I've never had a draw problem in 30 years with the Dominican Davidoff, ever. And
We
they
don't smoke a huge amount of it,
No, I've smoked. No, not a
we were
huge
thoroughly
amount.
enjoying the Millennium blend.
We had the
Aged
Millennium blend,
yeah.
but we tasted some 20-year-old Millennium blends.
They were delicious.
And they were delicious.
They've changed, haven't they?
Yeah.
They have
that's
changed, but
delicious.
they don't
It takes
sell
bit-
them on that aging potential. They sell them to smoke now. But this was a really outstanding cigar, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it really was. It really
It takes
was.
a bit
remember-
longer to mature
Yes.
with the Davidoffs, but when they do, it's delicious
Yeah.
cigars. It's just unbelievable.
Mm.
Well,
I haven't had the pleasure of
do you
proving.
remember the 3000s?
I was
the
going to say.
Dominican
I was
3000s.
going to say
3000s,
yes.
yeah.
They were
They were
from
about
2000 something.
Early 2000s.
Yeah. They were
if not
brilliant.
older.
They were delightful.
Yeah. We couldn't get enough, and they was going like hotcakes, weren't they?
Do
as soon as we
you
had
sell
on
them?
there.
Do you sell them? I mean, are they,
Well, we did. We
It's
got
discontinued.
multi
The problem is
boxes.
we sold them all.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
what was the other one you sold the all of? The Puradoro.
Yes.
That was the
that was nice.
that was the great Yamatsu wrapper special, wasn't it? The everything Even the cellophane came from the Dominican
Yeah,
Republic.
exactly right.
The box. And
It was beautiful with a gold band on the foot.
yeah.
And of course, when it came out, I think it was ahead of the market, and it wasn't as popular perhaps as they hoped. So they discontinued it, and the moment they discontinued it, everyone wanted them.
Yeah, so
We still have
that's
people
great.
asking for them.
There we go.
That was a very strong cigar.
Yes.
I mean, that was really, because they can.
More powerful than the Yamasa blend now? I've never had
Yeah.
one before.
Oh, it was. I mean, it sticks in the mind as being exceptionally strong.
Yes.
So popular with the Americans, I would assume. Like similar to a Padron, maybe, that power behind the Padron, or even.
Well, power-wise, yes,
Yeah.
probably, but not as perhaps as not as much in the throat
Yeah.
as you'll get sometimes with the Nicaraguans.
Slightly more refined.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I would say there was more nuance to it, but it
Yeah.
wasn't a weak cigar. I mean, nor is this, to be honest.
Yes.
Mm.
I mean, it's a really distinct cigar from the 25-year anniversary, which, it's, dare I say, day and night.
And you are the one. And Edward, so what do you like about the cigar, Edward?
First of all, I love the shape. I think where I was asked, Dad, what should we do? What cigar should we choose? I said, "Eddie, why don't we do the number 2 again? That's my favorite." So if you like that, it has to be that.
Yeah.
And it was a difficult one because they packed in so many varieties of tobacco. I think there's about 7 different
Altogether, yes.
altogether
Yeah, it's
7
such a
different
slender gauge
tobaccos
to get
there,
it harmonious.
in such a small ring
Yeah.
gauge. But I love the shape, the size, and then the flavor. And the flavor, it's one of the few cigars, when I light up. This will take me a good hour, perhaps a bit longer to enjoy slowly.
Yeah.
You have to really draw onto it slowly, puff at a time. Don't rush into finishing it quickly. Everything.
You always take your time with. I mean, I've seen you. Obviously, for those of you that don't know, Edward and Eddie are my bosses, and it's very strange to be here having them on what I suppose you could call our show. It should be the other way around, really. I feel. I mean, as soon as I came here, I felt I should be cleaning the counters and getting back into it. But
Old habits don't die.
I think that'll be after we stop filming.
yes,
I think
I'll
they
go
need to
around.
go. Judy will be on your case otherwise.
But it was. I've always seen you with a slender cigar, and you've always taken your time with it, which I think is great. And we were recently reviewing La Reina, a few Lancero size Figuito No. 1 size cigars, and I said this cigar would.
Everything has a bearing on the flavour in terms of even the delivery to the palate.
Mm.
So you get a completely different experience. If this blend were 10 ring gauge points different, it would be a completely different cigar. I mean, it would smoke more coolly probably, but it would be, I can't imagine how it would be, but I mean, this is incredible that I've got that slight, that's the Piloto, I don't know if there's Piloto in it, but it's got
There
that
is,
kind
you're
of, that
absolutely
sort of
right,
drying around the mouth, which is, very characteristic of a Dominican cigar. And I think that's what's quite nice, is that they've made something special that retains the identifiable characteristics of the terroir, which is, for me, part of the point,
Very well put, Nick. I like also with the Davidoff cigars, especially some of the more recent years' production, you can see they've very self-consciously staged each period of flavor.
Yes.
And I know they do that on purpose. And when you speak with Henke and Eladio, the way they place the leaves and they tweak the blend as you work down the cigar, it's done intentionally. And we can taste it. I mean, for me now it's changing. The spice has come off a bit.
Yeah.
The spice has come off. You don't have that. I mean, there was a slightly. It's got a more of a. I suppose we're now into more of the wooden leather, really, aren't we?
We're slowly approaching that stage of it.
No, not yet the zest.
Not yet the zest.
I've got a lot of kind of cocoa, I suppose, on the.
Yeah, well, this is
notes as well.
this is the 95% cocoa, or
This-
96
Still
or
taste that,
96% cocoa. I can't be
can
sure.
actually still taste that, funny enough.
And were you saying, Eddie, that it's the same wrapper they use on the 702 series?
Yes, it's an Ecuadorian origin wrapper, and they call it the Habano seed Ecuador wrapper.
Mhm.
So it's a very refined wrapper, very
Yeah.
silky, great color.
Yeah, lovely
without
colour.
the
Beautiful.
sort of, You know, with some of the Maduro style wrappers,
You get
they're
almost
very
like a
thick.
sandpapery
Yes.
quality to it.
Or the tiger stripe we were talking about the other
What
day.
was the tiger stripe?
That was when the Maduro, it wasn't a solid colour, it was a mixture of light brown and dark brown going round.
That was on a
That was on a
That was on a Supremos, I think it was.
Buster Supremos.
Yes. When it was kind of sandpaper and tiger stripe, the tiger stripe wrapper.
Yes, that was the new.
That was the
fashion.
new wrapper. That comes after Maduro.
But this is excellent. Edward, what was the first cigar that you smoked in your life?
I know the answer.
So the first one you enjoyed. How about that? 'Cause
I don't know the answer.
The first one you
The
enjoyed.
first cigar I smoked in my life, as the story everybody's heard, was a Partagas, and I did not enjoy it at all. It was the wrong cigar at the wrong time of the day. Very strong blend, 10 o'clock in the morning.
And when was that? In the 60s? No, 50s.
It was it was in the 60s. It was sort of mid 60s probably. I'll tell you when it was.
So in kindergarten.
It was probably 65, 66, 67.
So before then you smoked cigarettes and a pipe, or?
No, I never smoked cigarettes in my life.
How dare you?
Okay.
How
No,
dare you?
no, it's a very good question. I never ever smoked cigarettes in my life. I started with a pipe. I was 16 years old when I bought my first pipe out of my pocket money, away from my father's knowledge, if you know about that. And I started smoking a pipe, and I enjoyed the pipe until the age of 22, 23. And then when accidentally or by chance, a friend of mine presented me with a box of 10 Partagas cigars. I think there was like a Corona size or a Corona, Partagas Corona, and it came in glass tubes, not metal tubes, but in glass tubes.
Ah, yes.
I haven't seen them since.
I saw there were one with I think which were machine made, the Cristales. Was it the part?
It may well be that.
In those days, it was still handmade.
Yes.
In those days, they didn't really have the machine-made ones as such.
The right way to do things, yeah.
It was still properly handmade. So that was my first cigar. But the first time I smoked Davidoff number 2, which is now my favorite cigar.
Yes.
Everybody knows that. It was in the Davidoff shop in Geneva when I went there to buy some cigars, and I was served by an elderly gentleman, well not elderly, but older than me. He served me with a cigar. I told him, he said, "What do you like?" I said, "Well, I've smoked the Davidoff Chateau Chem, and it was far too strong. I want something not so strong." He said, "Well, you smoked the strongest cigar. You shouldn't smoke that. You should start smoking something light. Let me get you the right cigar." He came along with the box of the number 2s, opened the box, took one out, cut it, and said, "Try this." And it was Zeno himself. He presented me, and I just fell in love with it.
And you still have the box he gifted you on the opening of the shop, didn't you?
I have,
You said if you finished the box, that's when you
I
retired.
have 2 memorabilia from that. The day when, 29th of May, when he came for the opening of the shop, he presented me with one of his books, the Connoisseur Book of Cigars, and he put a few words there, very sweet words, and also a box of 25 of the Dom Perignon, because when we opened the shop on the same opening day, one of the other events we were celebrating was the introduction of the Davidoff Dom Perignon cigars.
Wow,
into
that
the
must have
UK
been
market.
amazing. What was the Dom Perignon? It's a double Corona, right?
No,
No,
it's a
it's
Churchill
a
size.
Churchill
It's
size.
exactly a Churchill size.
And
It
that's
was the
where-
Anniversario was the double
Anniversario
Corona.
is
That's in the wooden
larger
tubes,
than
yes.
an Anniversario.
The Monte Cristo A or?
Monte Cristo A size,
Yeah.
exactly. 9 inches long.
So did they ever do a double Corona, Davidoff?
They
Cuba?
did. They did from the
Not
Dominican
in
Republic,
Cuba,
the
no.
R series. No, not in Cuba.
No, not in Cuba.
In Dominican Republic. As a matter of fact, I put a box of 50 of that.
They did the
signed
double
by
R.
Dr. Schneider.
Oh wow!
But the box that Zeno gave me, 25 Dom Perignons, I said, "You have to sign it for Mr. Davidoff." So he wrote on it something like, "Dear Edward, smoke but don't smoke too much." And when I took the box, I said, "I promise, Mr. Davidoff, I will only smoke one every year on the anniversary of the shop." And for the 10, 12 years, I religiously did that every year. Until I got, I think it was year 13 or year 14, when I finished the top layer, I went to the, I think it was year 14, so I went to the layer below.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh God, half of the box is already gone."
Yeah.
I said, "I better slow
Better
down."
slow down, yeah.
And I still have about 7, 8, maybe 9 left there. So I did cheat on that bit. I haven't smoked since every year because it's been finished a long time ago. So I might maybe smoke one more from that box, and then the rest I'll leave it with Eddie and Elvis to finish
There
it.
we go.
Oh,
that's very nice.
They have to promise they'll smoke one every 10 years.
It's changing again. It's changing again now for me. I'm getting a slightly creamier. Weirdly enough, are you getting something less? I'm getting it's strange in that it's changing quite dramatically because there was that slightly strong.
I have a bit of zest, I must say.
No,
I've reached that
maybe,
point.
maybe you're. How are you behind?
I'm a little bit behind. But I was saying, Eddie, what have we got here? We've got the original number 2, dude.
Yes, I'm sorry. I only pulled this out because, of course, my father being my father, being the arch hoarder he is, has kept some of
The
the
man who
original.
cornered the market on the
Hey.
man who cornered the market on the Colonialis in the
Trinidad Reyes.
Trinidad
Reyes.
Reyes.
Packs of 5, all of them.
And also made the Hoyo Double Corona the most popular cigar.
That was a great Edward invention. When It was
Yes.
rung up by Marvin Shanklin, wasn't it, to say what's the best cigar?
Yeah.
And then he
Look
said,
at that. And we'll have some
Wow.
close-up footage of this, I think, so you can. Unfortunately, you won't be able to smell them, but you'll be able to see them at least.
"Oh, that is a beautiful, beautiful thing."
Now,
Whoa.
that's exactly 30 years old, that box.
That smells.
That must be one of the last boxes they made.
Exactly right, Nick. Yes, I mean the oldest I've seen, the youngest I've seen on box dates are 92,
Yes.
and this is from 1990.
Amazing. Look at that. And
The old Cuban
the
one.
old health warnings as well were so much more attractive than they are these days.
They were basically
this one was
invisible.
see-through,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
you can't
yeah.
even see that.
Smoking might not be a good idea.
It's like
Or you might like to moderate your intake and don't necessarily take your children
But we'll
to the
just
cigar
have
shop.
Mr. Davidoff's quote, smoke,
Well,
but not too much.
Yeah.
Recently, 2 weeks ago, was it 2-3 weeks ago, the French Ministry of Health announced there was a report from one of the universities or institutions in France that they said actually smoking is good for you, considering we're going through this period of the coronavirus. Apparently, it does destroy or keep at bay the virus itself. And it was the nicotine content of it especially. It was such a popular announcement that everybody ran to
Yes.
the chemist to buy the patches.
Yes.
And then they had to
They had to
announce.
stop people, yes.
Well, they said you can only have 1 month's supply of it. You cannot hoard it.
I'm
Unlike
amazed
the
that-
loo paper.
I'm amazed that Donald Trump hasn't been on one of his briefings chain smoking. You know?
Was he not injecting pure nicotine along with bleach
No,
or
it'd be so
something?
good if he were. I mean, he is
That is the
something,
best.
isn't he? He's quite a character, that one,
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean-
apparently his son is quite a cigar
and a hunter as well. I
and a
believe.
hunter.
Yeah,
Well, actually, cigars they ward off midges, don't they? So if you're kind of hunting and you can't be distracted, you must light a cigar. Or fishing. Fishing is very important. as well.
It does keep it away.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes as well.
But you got everything. It does everything. This is why a lot of people in Spain smoke to ward off the
And
mosquitoes.
apparently deers can't smell cigars either.
There we go. So you never ward them off. Yes.
When I go to Spain, to Valencia, to see my daughter and the grandchildren, we sit there by the swimming pool, and there are plenty of mosquitoes there. I'm the only one they don't come near.
'Cause you're always
Honestly,
smoking a
I'm
cigar.
smoking there.
But that's because you're in a three-piece suit when you're relaxing by the pool.
Even the swimming costume's a full swimming costume.
I was wondering whether we should maybe halt filming for a bit and then come back to it when we reach the final
The peak.
the final sort of bit of the cigar. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
Well,
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
God.
Oof.
And anyway, we've been enjoying. Do they still use the word? What kind of stimulation would you like when they offer you a cigar? When they offer you a cigar, you're not allowed to smoke a cigar in the Davidoff. I remember under it had to be. You've got to enjoy a cigar, and then you have to, and then you don't sort of say what kind of cigar you'd like. You say what sort of stimulation would you like? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Remember? Has that sort of gone by the by now?
Is this
I
before my
think
time?
it's still used in some of the stores, and hopefully, well, occasionally we ask the question, what would be your enjoyment? But stimulation is perhaps too much for St. James's.
Okay, so
It's a word often used amongst my friends these days. They go, "What stimulation would you care for?" When they come into my room and I choose a cigar. So
Excellent.
amongst
Now-
the children, yes.
You're
The
like-
children
now,
having
now,
fun in the
Edward,
shop.
we've got to quickly introduce these two figures, which have nothing to do with this cigar at all.
They spend time on it, not quickly.
But they are evidence of your immense popularity across the cigar-growing regions of the world. One of them, you were awarded. I mean, this is viewer. If you're still with us, which I very much doubt, viewer, you will be interested to learn that Davidoff left Cuba in 1992, 91, 92?
1990 actually.
1990.
Officially 1990.
Officially 1990, to move to the Dominican Republic. And this, I wouldn't say it was a sort of Cold War, but there was definitely, Davidoff kind of kick-started really the popularity, the immense popularity of the Dominican cigars. And I know certainly that Edward is regarded as a sort of living god in all the tobacco cultivating regions of the tropics. And even though he is so closely associated with the Dominican Republic, Cuba saw fit to give him the Havana Man of the Year award. And he is literally garlanded with awards wherever he goes. And there was talk once of introducing the size of cigar called the Sahakian. Do you remember that?
I think you're making that
No,
one up.
I was there.
Sahakian.
I was there, but anyway, which one? The one
The
is
one on the left.
that's yours.
This is the award that I won, but it was in 2017, and of course this is yours.
This is one that I won in
Which you-
2007. I think.
2007, 10 years before mine. So
Yes, I think
really-
they obviously
You're
ran
way
out of
ahead
they
of
ran
me
out
there.
of marble when they were doing yours because mine's got a bit deeper marble.
But I think they welded the head onto Edward's best.
But Edward had to weld the head back onto mine.
Yeah.
Alexandra my wife won't allow it in the house because she finds it too beautiful.
Can I have it in my, well, it's in the shop. It's in the shop.
It's in the shop where it belongs.
So I can see it every day.
And remind you of the great example I set, and that one day you too should
Yes.
try and get this award.
And there'll be no marble at all on my award when it comes to it.
Plywood and silver plate,
Yeah.
probably. But anyway, they are brilliant.
They are the best.
And I mean, this is about the only thing I've ever won in my life. And
This is the best one. This is the Oscar of the cigars.
Oscar, it's better than, but it's almost as good as a knighthood, not better than a knighthood.
Actually, we're
but-
very fortunate in the UK because there's 4 of these in the UK. There's yours, this one here, and then Simon Chase, of course, won one of these.
Yes.
And so did Gemma
Yeah.
Freeman.
So we need a few more now.
So-
Eddie, your pressure is on you to get it now.
Well, I will struggle and strive, as my
I
father
think
has.
it will be like Max says, by the time Eddie's turn comes, if it ever does, it will be plywood.
Yes.
Well, Max, you need to get yours 10 years before mine.
Yes, we need to
so-
figure this out properly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Well, I need to be able to at least travel to the ceremony alive to see it. So I want you to get your skates on, and I want some grandchildren as well, if you wouldn't mind as well, Max. Terrible.
Well,
It's all right.
theoretically.
Don't worry, I've already got a few.
I know. There was the one that was kept away from us, but anyway, there we are.
Yeah, we won't go into
We
that.
won't
one
go
now.
into that one so much now. But look, final thoughts on this delicious cigar. You say that by the time you get down to when you take the first band off and you get down to the beginning of the Davidoff band, it starts to become a bit too strong. I mean, you don't want to operate any machinery or basically take any life decisions really once you get to
Or
that.
drive.
Yes,
Yeah.
it packs a real punch in the last quarter.
Mm.
And that for me is a very good indication that it will age beautifully. And I would imagine in 10, 15 years' time, that final punch won't happen. It'll hopefully be a very smooth finish as well. But it can be enjoyed today by the more adventurous, the more powerful palate.
How long do you think? 10 years?
10 to 15 at
Let's
least.
say 10, because by that time there'll be the 50th anniversary one at the shop.
Yes.
Normally we have a custom. It's like a ritual. It's like a catechistic ritual. We normally say, in our rambling manner, we say, and fighting the virus one corona at a time. But as we are in Davidoff at this special broadcast of this special cigar with these 2 incredibly special men, we're going to say, the 2 is in the special.
Yeah, we're going to go fighting the virus,
One Corona Especial at a time.
Hooray!